Tony Tone Show. Joining me on the MPW Digital TV Celebrity Hotline, I have to tell him that my DVR at the house is basically clogged because we have episodes of Chopped and some old Chopped Juniors on there. It's the host of Chopped and Chopped Junior, Ted Allen. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. And my DVR is just as clogged as yours is.
So, Ted, my wife, Casey, she really got me into Chopped. I love the Food Network. I've interviewed people like Jeff Morrow. Jeff's actually from my hometown outside Chicago, so I've been a fan for a while. But there's something about Chopped and Chopped Junior that it's one of those things, Ted, where like we have so many distractions now with our smartphones or whatever, but when Chopped and Chopped Junior's on, I have to watch it from start to finish.
I love it. And thank you. I appreciate the support. And the same thing happens to me. I'm in every one of these things. I lived them. It's a 12-hour shoot day. You wouldn't think I'd want to see it ever. And if I'm flipping channels and Chopped comes on, I almost always watch it. I think our editors are really talented, and the kids are amazing, and the chefs it just draws me in.
So Chopped Junior is back tomorrow night on the Food Network, and it's amazing to see these kids, Ted. I mean, I for a while I thought maybe I would go to culinary school. I ended up not. I've always loved to cook, and then I watched these kids on Chopped Junior, and I kind of feel bad about myself because they're really good.
Well, I think you probably, personally for me, I really love cooking as something I do for fun and something I don't have to do 18 hours a day. Proportionally, you're probably getting paid a lot more per hour than you would have been. But you can still, these kids have grown up. These kids have never been alive when there isn't Food Network or the Internet, all these resources, and they've come to see what an amazing craft it is. And now we get 9-year-olds walking in the door that know how to use ingredients like lemongrass, and they're talking about, I needed to balance the acidity with some sweetness. It's crazy, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
So I can't wrap my head around Ted, I have a 4-year-old, and the thought of him in 5 years knowing how to pair lemongrass, I think it's great though, and I love that maybe there's other kids that are going to watch Chopped Junior that maybe that empowers them to not be afraid to cook, right? I think it's got a good message.
I think you're absolutely right. I think it has a lot of fringe benefits. For one thing, maybe your kid might end up making dinner for you, 5 nights a week. But the other thing is it makes kids, when the kids are involved in the cooking and when they're interested in food, they're less picky. I mean, we get kids who are curious about wanting to try things like olives and anchovies, and who want to get their hands dirty and get in the kitchen and participate in this. Another upside for the show itself is that we find that Chopped Junior is a show that kids and parents like to watch together, and that's a rarity. I think that's a special thing. It's one of the reasons why. So what's starting on Tuesday is season 2. Mm-hmm. We were going to shoot just 3 seasons. A 3rd season this year. Now they've added a 4th because people are really digging it. So I get a little less time off this summer, but hey, it's good.
It's good to stay busy. I saw on your Instagram, was it yesterday, you shared a picture of yourself with the Obamas. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was. I was invited to do a cooking demo for kids at the White House Easter egg roll, which is something many of our judges have done in the past, mm-hmm. and it was an absolute blast. Beyonce was there. I was waiting in line to get our picture with the president and the first lady. I was waiting in line about 10 paces behind Shaq, which was pretty cool. And it's just so the way the Obamas have the Easter egg roll set up now, it used to be that 2,000 kids would come, 2,000 people, kids and parents,
sure.
And the same people would be at the Easter egg roll all day long. And Mrs. Obama has figured out a way to do a sort of a rotation so that people come in for about 2.5 hours, which is really all you need.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you want to roll eggs around?
Right.
So they get 35,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
Through the White House lawn and a chance to get close to the leader of the free world, and it's a pretty neat day.
Holy cow. So any nerves for you? Or, I mean, you've done a lot, being there and then also having to do the demos and stuff like that.
Well, it's funny. I'll tell you, I happen to have a friend who is a member of the staff of the White House cooking team. So he's there no matter who's the president. He's been there for years. And the day I had to do my demo, it was 30, 40 mile an hour winds. And when you're using a portable propane gas burner and it's 40 miles an hour wind, you don't have a burner. It blows it out.
Right.
And I was just lucky to have a friend who works on the White House kitchen staff because he was able to bring me an induction burner, which is kind of like an electric cooktop that doesn't blow out. So apparently my White House credentials paid off because I was cooking eggs, and if you're trying to demonstrate cooking eggs without heat, you don't have much of a demo. I got to tell you.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Very exciting.
You just have eggs, like raw eggs, which wouldn't be that
you just
cool.
have slimy raw eggs. Yes.
All right, if you're just tuning in, that's Ted Allen, host of Chopped and Chopped Jr., which is back tomorrow night on the Food Network. We love it. The mystery ingredients on Chopped, Ted, I don't know how these people do it, and especially now with the kids. Has there been one, and you probably get asked this question a lot, has there been one ingredient over the years where you thought there's no way that they could turn that into something edible?
I'll tell you what, we've had the baskets that we're giving the kids, there are no training wheels on these baskets. They're just as hard. They almost seem sadistically more difficult. And if you give one ingredient that's popped up is pigeon. When you're cooking it, you call it squab.
Ooh.
This is a tiny, tiny, tiny little bird compared to a chicken, but it looks like a little mini chicken. The problem is pigeon is a red meat bird, and you don't have to cook it all the way through. In fact, if you cook it all the way through, you're going to ruin it. So you cook it, and it gets to just the right doneness. If you cook it for 5 seconds more, you've ruined it. That is tough stuff. That's tough stuff for a professional. And yet, what they lack in experience, we're finding that these kids they're more willing to do crazy stuff. They don't have baggage. They're not trying to be pretentious or look really cool because they have a restaurant and partners, and they're worried about embarrassing themselves in front of their partners or their customers. These are just kids. So they'll take a pigeon and put it in the food processor with a little ice cream and call it a sauce.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I'm Ted. I'm brave, and that just sounds. I mean, have you had squab or pigeon, or have you tried it yourself?
I actually have had. I mean, squab is delicious when it's cooked right.
Yeah.
The problem is, it's great. It's awesome. It's really almost more like. It's sort of like you treat it almost more like beef, like a steak.
Wow.
Or like duck, and it's best medium rare. So I mean, if you like a good steak or a nice medium burger, it's sort of along those lines. But it's you have to know what you're doing to cook that.
Right.
And it's all these even just to break it down to get the bones out or to butterfly it. It takes skill and it takes experience, and it's also an expensive product. So most of us can't afford it and have never had it. If you've had it at all, you've had it in a fancy restaurant.
Right.
It's a challenge.
Before I let you go, Ted Allen, and I can't wait to watch Chopped Jr. tomorrow night on the Food Network, is there ever a moment, because it's a competition, they're kids, the judges aren't like extremely tough, but has there been a moment when you thought, I hope that these kids can handle the critiques, because they're just trying to make them better at the end of the day, aren't they?
Absolutely, and you'd be amazed at the maturity level of some of the kids who come in and they say, when your kid's cooking something, they make a cake that has fish in it or something. I mean, it's like a chocolate cake with some anchovies, and you're going to say, "Great job, Johnny." Some of these kids they really want honest criticism, and you can deliver that in a friendly way. You don't have to tell them that this is garbage or something.
Right.
But these kids want to be told the truth. They want to get better. It doesn't mean they enjoy hearing that they've been chopped, because they often don't. And it's stressful because we're watching it. We're worried that the kids are going to. We don't want anybody to hurt themselves, and we're hoping that they'll be able to handle bad news and good news. When you're 9, your emotions are a little bit less controlled,
right,
than when you're a grown up. But we find that a lot of these kids are amazing. Once in a while, we get a teardrop or two.
Well, I've seen that from some adults as well, so it goes both ways, doesn't it? I mean, oh, Ted, listen, I know you got to go. I appreciate the time this morning. I'm so excited for the return of Chopped Jr. tomorrow night on the Food Network, and of course, regular Chopped. It's great. Been a fan for a while. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this conversation, and I wish you all the best, buddy.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your interest.
We'll talk to you soon, okay, Ted?
All righty. Be well.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.